Somewhere on a battlefield in 9th century England, in the moments before a Viking line broke into a charge, a small group of men stood apart from the rest. No armor, foaming at the mouth, eyes fixed on nothing. The textbooks will tell you they were berserkers, the rage warriors of Norse legend, said to feel no pain and no fear, and that what put them in that state was a mushroom, the red and white toadstool of folklore. For 2 centuries, that was the answer. A drug, a trance, a vanished cult of warriors lost to history. Then ancient DNA was extracted from their bones, and modern toxicology reopened the case. Almost every part of the textbook story fell apart. The drug was not what we were told. The men were not who we were told. And more unsettling than that, they never actually disappeared. Their genes are still walking modern Norway. To understand why this mattered, historians first looked back at the original sources. The Norse sagas. Across texts written centuries apart, the descriptions remain strikingly consistent. Berserkers fought without fear, ignored wounds, howled like animals, and collapsed afterward in total exhaustion. These weren't random exaggerations. They described a repeatable physical state, something induced before battle. For years, the explanation seemed simple: a hallucinogenic mushroom, Amanita muscaria. The idea came from an 18th century scholar who connected Viking behavior to Siberian shaman rituals. It was neat, memorable, and widely accepted. But it had one problem: it was never tested. When modern toxicology finally examined what that mushroom actually does to the human body, the theory unraveled. Instead of producing rage and strength, it causes nausea, confusion, loss of coordination, and sedation. In other words, the exact opposite of what a frontline warrior would need. A man under its influence wouldn't charge into battle. He'd barely be able to stand. So researchers looked elsewhere. What they found was a plant that fit the saga descriptions almost perfectly: henbane. Unlike the mushroom, henbane produces agitation, hallucinations, pain resistance, rapid heart rate, and even the foaming at the mouth described in the texts. It also causes extreme fatigue after the effects wear off, matching the post-battle collapse recorded in the sagas. Then came the archaeological proof. In a Viking burial at Firkat, Denmark, scientists discovered a pouch filled with henbane seeds, alongside items linked to ritual specialists. This wasn't random. The plant was being collected, stored, and likely administered deliberately. It wasn't a casual drug. It was controlled. This changes the entire picture. Berserkers weren't lone warriors taking substances on their own. They were part of a system, a structured process involving preparation, ritual, and controlled dosing. What emerged from that system was a warrior temporarily transformed, faster, stronger, less sensitive to pain. But the bigger surprise came from DNA. For a long time, scholars believed berserkers might have been a distinct group, perhaps genetically different or from a separate lineage. That idea collapsed when large-scale genetic studies analyzed Viking-age skeletons. The results showed no difference. Berserkers were not outsiders. They were genetically indistinguishable from ordinary Scandinavians, farmers, fishermen, and craftsmen. They weren't born different. They were made different. And when the Viking Age ended, when Christianity spread and laws banned berserker practices, the system disappeared. The rituals stopped. The substances stopped. But the men didn't vanish. They returned to normal life, had families, and passed on their genes. That's the part most people miss. The berserker wasn't a lost tribe or extinct warrior class. He was a temporary state, a role created by culture, chemistry, and ritual. Once that system ended, the role disappeared, but the people remained. Modern genetic studies confirm this continuity. The same lineages found in Viking burials exist in Scandinavia today. The distance between a 10th century warrior and a modern Norwegian is, genetically speaking, almost nothing. So the real story isn't about a mysterious drug or a legendary warrior type. It's about how easily history can mistake a system for a species. The berserkers didn't disappear. They just stopped being berserkers, stopped being